Lewis Hamilton has just shattered the silence with a revelation so direct, so personal, that it has stunned not only Ferrari, but the entire Formula One paddock. In a sport where most drivers play it safe, hiding behind carefully crafted PR lines, Hamilton has done the unthinkable. He's dropped a verbal bombshell that could completely reshape Ferrari's future. For weeks now, the pressure inside Maranello has been boiling. Whispers of Fred Vasseur's departure have grown louder. Names like Christian Horner and Antonello Coletta have been thrown into the mix, and every missed opportunity on track has only fueled speculation. But just when it seemed like Ferrari's internal crisis might explode behind closed doors, Hamilton took matters into his own hands, stepping forward with a bold, unfiltered message that nobody saw coming. And make no mistake, this wasn't some emotional outburst or media spin. This was calculated, deliberate, the kind of statement that forces everyone, from journalists to team executives, to stop and listen. Because what Hamilton just said, it doesn't just support his team boss, it challenges the very direction Ferrari is heading. So why did Hamilton speak now? Why did he risk stirring the pot in the middle of a volatile season? And what exactly did he say that has left fans, insiders, and even Ferrari's own leadership completely stunned? Don't move a muscle, because what you're about to discover goes far beyond the headlines. This is about power, loyalty, and the battle for control inside Formula One's most legendary team. This is about Hamilton making it crystal clear who he backs, who he blames, and who he might walk away from if things spiral any further. So before we get into the bombshell statement that's shaking Ferrari to its core, take a second to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Because this story isn't just it could break Ferrari apart. Lewis Hamilton didn't just speak, he detonated a bomb right in the heart of Maranello. In a sport where every word is weighed, filtered, and politically sanitized, what Hamilton just said about Fred Vasseur hit like a thunderclap. Because in a moment of peak uncertainty, when Ferrari's leadership was being questioned at the highest levels, and when names like Christian Horner and Antonello Coletta were being quietly floated as successors, Hamilton stepped into the spotlight and fired a message directly at Ferrari's top brass. Touch Fred and you risk everything. That's not speculation. That's not interpretation. That's what happened. At a time when Vasseur's job is rumored to be hanging by a thread after 10 races without a win, Hamilton didn't hold back. He stood in front of the media, took a breath, and dropped a truth bomb no one expected. Fred's the reason I'm here. I want him to stay. I believe he's the man to take us to the top. Let's be clear about what that means. Hamilton is tying his own legacy at Ferrari, his final chapter in Formula One, to the man now being targeted for removal. He's not just defending Vasseur, he's warning the team. He's drawing a line in the sand and daring the board to cross it, because if they do, everything changes. This wasn't a casual show of support. This was Hamilton leveraging his status as one of the greatest drivers in history to shift the balance of power inside Ferrari. And the message was received loud and clear, because now, if Ferrari even thinks about pulling the trigger on Vasseur, they won't just be facing backlash from fans or the media. They'll be risking a total breakdown in the very foundation of the Hamilton project. And here's where it gets even more explosive. Ferrari is in crisis. Yes, they sit second in the standings, but anyone who's watched the first 10 races knows that position is a smokescreen. Missed podiums. Strategic meltdowns. A car that feels fast one weekend and hopeless the next. Morale is low. Patience is vanishing. The pressure is enormous. And instead of pulling together, Ferrari's leadership seems to be looking for someone to blame. Enter the usual Ferrari cycle: blame, reshuffle, repeat. That's what happened to Binotto. That's what happened to Arriva-Ben. And now it looks like Vasseur is next in line. But this time, Hamilton is trying to stop the spiral before it starts. And that's what makes this bombshell moment so significant. Hamilton isn't asking for change. He's asking for time, for continuity, for stability. 3 things Ferrari hasn't been able to hold on to in over a decade. And in doing so, he's forcing the team to reconsider everything. Because if they push Vasseur out now, what does that signal to Hamilton, to Leclerc, to the engineers working overtime every week to hold things together? It signals that Ferrari hasn't learned, that once again they're hitting the panic button instead of solving the real issues. And make no mistake, if Vasseur is shown the door, Hamilton may not walk. Immediately, but something fundamental will break. The trust, the vision, the purpose, everything that brought him here in the first place. What Hamilton just did wasn't normal. It wasn't expected. It was a power play, and it has left Ferrari stunned. Not just because of what he said, but because of what it forces them to confront. Do they trust the process they started, or do they revert to chaos? Do they give Vasseur time to fix a team still healing from years of dysfunction? Or do they once again hand over the keys to a new face and hope for the best? Hamilton has made his position clear. Now the ball is in Ferrari's court, but if they get this wrong, they won't just lose a team principal, they might lose the one man who could have made them great again, and that's the real bombshell. So as the world watches Ferrari stumble through one of the most fragile moments in its modern history, Hamilton's revelation lands like a lightning bolt, not just because of what he said, but because of when he said it. This isn't just damage control. It's not a press conference platitude. It's a calculated move from a driver who's no stranger to high-stakes politics. And what he just did was draw a red line through the heart of Maranello. What we're witnessing now isn't the usual mid-season gossip. It's the public unraveling of a leadership crisis. Live, unfiltered, and amplified by the voice of one of the most powerful figures in the sport. Hamilton's words have set off a chain reaction, one that Ferrari's top management cannot ignore. Because this isn't just about Vasseur's results. It's about the identity of the project Hamilton signed up for. And if they abandon that identity, they risk losing more than just a team principal. They risk dismantling the entire future they sold him. The truth is, Hamilton came to Ferrari for more than just nostalgia or a final payday. He came to build, to shape something lasting. But now he finds himself not just fighting for performance, but for the very soul of the team. And by stepping into the spotlight and publicly defending Vasseur, he's not just backing a friend, he's putting his name, his legacy, and his final F1 chapter on the line. The question is, will Ferrari listen, or will they do what they've always done when the pressure mounts? Tear it down and start over, because if they choose the latter, they're not just rejecting Vasseur, they're gambling with Hamilton's commitment, they're testing Leclerc's patience, and they're flirting with a collapse that no restructure or reshuffle can fix in time for 2026. This is Ferrari's moment of truth. They can stay the course, trust the vision, and build something real. Or they can chase shadows, rip out the roots, and hope, once again, that something better grows in its place. So don't blink. What Hamilton just revealed wasn't a soundbite. It was a spark, and what happens next may ignite a fire that burns through everything Ferrari thought it had under control. Smash that like button if you're feeling the tension. Subscribe if you want every twist of this saga delivered straight to you, and turn on those notifications. Because if this story is even half as explosive as it looks, you won't want to miss a second of what comes next.